Hi guys, and welcome to another Bootstrap video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've been building this little Bootstrap site here. I'm going to continue on with our Bootstrap basics theme. We created this slider here. We've added our content and our carousel captions. And what we want to do today is add a call to action button, or add a few buttons actually. We'll add more than one here to our carousel here, so that when you click on it, it'll take your visitors somewhere. Where that is entirely up to you. So let's get started. What we've got here is the folder we created for our site. There's our index.html file, which is what we're displaying here, and our custom CSS file, which dictates the styles we see on our page. And there's just a little folder with some images in that we've used for our carousel. We're not using those. And there's our logo that we've got up there. So I'm going to go ahead and open these with my brackets text editing software by right clicking and just hitting open with brackets. Brackets is a free text editor. You can download it from a link below this site if you don't have one. But you can use any text editor for this, so if you've got one, just go ahead and use the one you've got. Like I say, Brackets is free and it's got a bunch of great features. So check it out if you feel like it and if you haven't got a text editor. So let's go to our index.html site, which is basically the skeleton of our website up here. And if we go down to our carousel section right here, here's our first slide. Second slide, third slide. What we're going to do is just add a button, and I'm going to put it after our paragraph text there, which here's our heading text and here's our paragraph text. So we'll put a button just after right here. So let's look at the Bootstrap, get Bootstrap site here, and we'll go to the buttons page, and I'll put this link below in case you want to use it. And Bootstrap has a bunch of buttons built in by default. So what we'll do is use one of their buttons and we'll customize it for our own needs. What I'm going to do is go down to this link button right here, which is this one, because it's already got an anchor tag built into it. So we can use this for all our buttons. And if you notice, it's a button primary. Button primary is blue usually, secondary is grey, success green, etc., etc. Although we're going to use it, we're actually going to customize it for our own needs and make it the colors and shape that we actually want it. So I'm going to copy this first little tag right here. Control C to copy, go back to our index.html. I'm going to drop it just below our paragraph text there. So I'll just hit return. Control V to paste it in there. And let's say this is the writing that appears within it. Let's change that to learn more or something. Whatever you want your message or call to action button to say. Okay, there it is, learn more. Let's see what we've got. Control S to save. Let's go back to the site. And refresh. Boom. There's our button right there. That's how easy it is. Okay, video over. No, I'm just kidding. Because we've added a button to here, it's kind of pushed our whole caption up a little bit. So we want to bring the whole thing down. And if you remember, we gave our carousel caption a margin on the bottom. If I select this, I'm using Google Chrome. I'm going to right click and hit inspect. And where's our carousel caption? There it is. I think we gave it a margin. Yeah, margin. Looks like we got two entries there. We gave it a margin on the bottom of 20% to put it where it is up. I think that's a little bit too much. Let's take that down, perhaps to 15, and see what that looks like. Okay, let's type it in the right place. Double click on the entry you want till the box opens up. Type in the value you want. 15. Okay, yeah, I think that works for me. So let's just change that in our CSS, then we'll come back and style this button more to the fashion that we actually want here. So 15 we said. If we go back to our text editor, to our custom CSS, if we look down at our carousel caption, or up, wherever it is, so our nav bar, so here's a slider, carousel caption, here's a margin bottom, and I've got 2 entries there for some reason. I don't need 2 entries the same, so delete one. It'll still work, it just won't read the second one. So that's fine. Well, it'll read it, but it won't act on it because it's the same. So let's change that to 15 and save. Okay, for our button, if we look at our index, our button is a button. It's got the class of button. It's also got the class of button primary, which button primary's got all those inbuilt styles that makes it look like it does. So if we go back, it's telling it wants to be that color basically. So let's make it more how we want it. How do we want it? I'm kind of planning to put 3 buttons here. So let's make them like the buttons we're using. All these aren't actually buttons, but they look like buttons for our text links up there. Let's make them rounded. Let's do 3 of them, and let's use the colors that we've got in our logo here, the red, the blue, and the purple, which I threw together, really didn't think about there. They're not the nicest colors in the world, but since we've got them, let's use that. So let's make this first one red, and it's a primary button, or button primary. If we check that out again, just to make sure, button primary, we've got to give it a whole new set of styles. So I'm copying that. I'm going to go to our custom CSS. I'm going to go down. I'm going to start a new little title, and I'm going to call it buttons. So it's / ***. In between goes your title. Just makes it easier when we've got hundreds of lines of code. If you put a little title in there, you can find things quicker. So it was a class. Start with a period or a full stop or dot, and then the class name, button primary. Open and close some curly brackets, and then let's see exactly what we want to do with it. And what we'll do, we'll use the Chrome inspector for this again. It's a bit of a pain having a carousel because it slides around all the time. But I'm going to right click and inspect on this. And here's our button primary. So we want to change this so it looks the way we want. We said we want it that red color for the background. So button primary, color, background color. So we want to change that to that red color. I've got that red color over here somewhere. It's E42448. So I'm going to put that in the background color. You can't see it. What number are we on? Second, third, fourth. Okay, so that's turned it the right color. It's still got a border color going on. I guess we could make the border the same color, or we could get rid of the border altogether. That's fine. And I think what we'll actually do is just copy the styles for this button right here over to this and just change the colors. Would probably be the easiest one. So let's go back to our custom CSS. Let's have a look at, this is the margin right anchor tags, which is those buttons up there. I've got them blue. Let's take this, all of it, and just put it in between our curly brackets here. Change that to the red color. We want to put the border color in as well, so we'll say border. And as usual, don't bother trying to copy what I'm doing on screen here. I'll put this CSS below the video. You're welcome to use it and manipulate it however you want to. Need to put a hashtag in front of that hexadecimal number there. Okay. So we've got our border color, border radius is fine, padding is fine. We don't want to change any of that. We may have to use the important on these to change them properly. Box shadow, I'm going to get rid of that altogether. I don't particularly want that on my buttons here. Width, I'll leave it for the time being. I don't think that's going to be wide enough if we've got a bit of text in there. Text align center, that can stay. Let's just have a look what we got there. Control S, go back to our site and to our button and refresh. There we go. Okay, well, it's doing pretty much what we wanted there. I think what I'm going to do is take that border color away altogether. I'm going to make it transparent. Like I say, it's not wide enough for our text there, I don't believe. So let's go back in there. Border color, let's make that transparent. Or I guess we could put the important class after it. That might force it. That might be some kind of inner shadow going on there. Let's just save that and go back to the site and refresh one more time. Yeah, that's fine. When we hover though, it's done that red border. That's fine. I think it'll make life easier if we just do a transparent, and on the hover we don't have to change it. So let's go back and just put transparent there. Okay, that's fine. Everything else seemed to work. The width was not enough though. It's not enough. Let's make our buttons 200, or you can take it away altogether. But I like to have a width so that all the buttons are the same. Say 200 pixels. Control S to save. Back to the site. And refresh. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And it's got its own hover color there. So we'll use our own. Let's give it a hover state. So let's go back and we'll say button primary. I'll copy that, drop down. As usual, we're doing a hover, so there's no gap between the Y and the colon, and no gap between the colon and the hover. No gaps, very important. Okay, and when we hover on it, what do we want it to do? So it's red. I guess we'll change it to the blue color or the purple color. Let's change it to the blue color, I suppose. So we'll do background. And put in our blue color there, which is 181174 from memory. Yep. Save that. See if we need to use the import on that. Control S, back to the site, refresh. No, that worked fine. Fantastic. Okay, that's doing just what I want it. And we can leave it there, but I want to add a couple more. So we've got 3 buttons, and we'll have them the same colors as we got going on up there. So if that one's going to be red, next one wants to be blue, and we'll give it a purple hover. So to add 2 more buttons, it's really difficult, really difficult. Okay, you ready for this? Go to our index.html. Here's our button. Let's copy it from the opening anchor tag to the closing anchor tag. Control C. Drop down. Add one. Add one. What should we have them say? Have them say different things. Start today. And perhaps contact us. I don't know. Whatever your game plan is, obviously. Alright, let's just save that. Control S, back to the site. And refresh. Let's get our inspector out of the way. Fantastic. Well, we've got 3 buttons there. But they're a little bit close together. Plus I want them to be different colored. Like I say, I want one red, one blue, one purple. So And I want a little bit more space between the writing and the buttons as well, I believe. So let's do that. We'll give them a bit of margin each side. And then we're going to change the color of the button. So let's get the margins done first so they're in the right place. So I'm probably going to give it an extra 10 pixels top and bottom margin and probably 15 pixels each side, left and right. That should separate them a little bit. So let's go back to our custom CSS. And custom CSS to our styles. Here's our button. Let's add a little margin. And we'll say top and bottom 10 pixels. So it'll give it 10 pixels top, 10 pixels bottom. And left and right, which is a second entry usually, 15 pixels left and right. You can do them separate. You can do top, left, bottom and right and have separate however you want. But if you just do two, it's top and bottom, left and right. If you just do one, it's all four. So if you want all four to be the same, that's very easy to do. Okay, save, Control S, back to the site. Yeah, that's fine. Jumped it up slightly by 20 pixels probably, but that's absolutely fine. Great. So all I want to do now is change the colors on those buttons. Before I do that, I'm just going to put a link into one of these buttons here so you can see what happens. Let's get a link from yes, my website. And I'll just put it in with the HTML here. If you look at our first button, anchor tag class button primary href, that's where the link wants to go. At the moment it's got a hashtag in there that's just going to take you to the top of the page, but if you paste in the URL of where you want it to go, or it can be a hashtag and an anchor point on your site if you want to scroll to a site or a page on your site. So I've put in there, which is one of my websites. Control S. Let's go back to the site, refresh. Now when I click on this one, it should take it to my website, to one of the web design pages. There we go, simple as that. But what it's done here, because this is an external link to a different website, it's closed our initial website, this one, and taken us to the new one, which is fine, but you kind of want people to stay on your site. So it'd be better if it opened in a new window, and to do that is real easy too. Okay, let's go. Here's our button. Here's our link. At the end of the link, let's put a space there, and we're going to write the word target, T-A-R-G-E-T, and then equals, open and close some inverted commas, and in there we want to write underscore blank. There we go. Control S to save. Back to the site. Let's refresh. Won't look any different. Now when I click on this to take us to that site, it's opened it up in a new tab, which is much more preferable because you want people to stay on your page when they're doing it. Okay, so now let's change the colors of these buttons. If we look at our Bootstrap over here, as I said before, all these buttons have got their own colors. So if we change the names, it's going to change the color. So let's use Success and Danger for our second two, and then customize those colors. If you look here, Primary, Success, Danger, we'll use those. Let's go to our HTML again, and we just need to change the names. What did I say? Success and Danger. Of course, when we look at these buttons now, they're going to look just like the default Bootstrap ones. If we go back to the site and I refresh there, there we go. Kind of look a bit out of place. But we've got to do to these what we did with this. And don't worry, it won't take so long, because all I'm going to do is copy over and just change a couple of the hex colors. So let's go back to our custom CSS. And before I go to the custom CSS, just remember those names, Success and Danger, because that's what we're using. So I'm going to come on over button primary. I'm going to copy all of this, including the hover state. I'm going to copy it once for each button. So Control C to copy, drop down a couple. There's once, there's twice. Now, what were those names again? They were Success and I need to do that below as well for the hover state. And these were Danger. Last one was Danger, wasn't it? Button Danger. Of course, you can make up your own name and do it from scratch your way. I'm just using these because they're already built for us. Okay, now all we need to do with these is change the color. Let's have a look back. The second one, I want to be that blue, and the third one I want to be purple. Second one wants to be a blue. Let's grab our blue color. Not going to do the hover just yet. And I'm going to put this same color on the hover of the Danger one at the end there. Obviously you can make them whatever colors you want. And the last one needs to be the purple color, which is our button Danger. And I'll put this on the hover state for that one. How does that sound? Okay, let's save that and see what happens now. Control S to save. Let's go back to the site. And refresh. There we go. Now we've got our buttons. Same color as our logo up here. That's got a hover color of blue. That's got a hover color of purple. And that's got a hover color of blue. I guess one of them should have a hover color of red. So that's got a blue. Let's make that one purple. And we'll make this one red. Okay, so that's first and last we want to change there. So first one we want to be purple on hover, which is this color. And the last one we want to be red on hover. Control C, which is right here. There we go. Control S to save. Okay, so that's purple now. That's purple on hover. And this is red on hover. Okay. Alright, so there's our three little buttons. Now this is going on a bit, this video now, so I probably ought to end it, but I just wanted to show you some alternatives with our other slides here while we're doing buttons. Let's add this button to that one. So let's go to HTML. We got this working, I'm happy with that. So let's do slide 2, but we'll do this one slightly different, seeing as we've got this dark background thing going on here. We'll align our text to the left and we'll push our button out to the right. So let's just do that. I apologize for the length of this, but if you're interested in different ways of doing your call to actions, this will probably be pretty interesting to you. Okay, to our index.html, here's our second slide. I'm going to steal the first button from this first slide here. Later on, when we've built more sections, I'll show you how you can anchor to different sections of your pages and different pages within your own site as well when we build them. So I've added that there. Learn more will do. That's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do is our carousel caption here. I'm going to say text, T-E-X-T dash left. That'll put all of our writing on the, align it to the left, and we'll have our button. But at the moment our button's going to be still on the left hand side. So let's say Control S to save. Back to our site. refresh, have a quick look on button 2. There we go. So we've got that. Now we've got our little button there. How about if we push this button over to this side? We've got our text aligned to the left, or you might even like that yourself. That's entirely up to you. We've got a little bit more padding or margin on this one, but we could always add a little margin to the side of here if we wanted to, or a bit of padding to the side of here if we wanted to pull it in line there. So let's just push this button to the left, and what we'll do, we'll create a class of that will actually push or float that button to the left hand side, or right hand side I should say. So we want this on the right, so we want this to float right. So what I'm going to do is, let's go back to our HTML. Here's our button I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call it FRT for float right, and let's go Control S, go to our custom CSS, and what do I want float right to do? I want it to float right. So we're going to say FRT for float right. You can call yours what you want. I've just made that up, but the only reason I called it FRT because it reminds me float right. And in there we're going to say float right. Simple as that. Control S to save. Now if we go back to our site and refresh, first slide, here's our second slide, and that's now got our button on the right. Okay, great, the second slide taken care of. And let's do something completely different with this third slide. How about if we split this into 2 rows, and we have our writing on the left, and we have a line of buttons on the right if you want multiple buttons. I wouldn't put too many on there, but we can certainly put 3 or 4 on there. So again, I apologize, this is going on a bit, but you might find this interesting and useful. So I'm going to go to our index.html. Here's our third slide. What I want to do is everything here in between our carousel caption, I want to create a row with 2 columns in it. So I'm going to drop down. I'm going to create a div with a class equals row. Okay, and there's the closing div, and I want to put that after everything we've got inside the carousel caption there. So it'll be after here. So we've now got a row there, and in between that row, let's just move these across a couple, select them, and I'm going to hit the tab key twice. Boom, boom. So I need to put each of our things in a div of their own. So we'll say the first one, div, it's going to be the class equals, I'll make it a column of, say, I don't know, 3. Actually, that's our writing, so let's make it bigger. Class of 6, mid 6. I guess our Bootstrap, what's displayed on the screen is usually split into 12 sections. So if you want 2 equal sized columns, you make 6 and 6. If you want 3, you make 4 and 4 and 4. If you want 4, you make 3 and 3 and 3, etc. It's got to add up to 12 to go all the way across. So a column of 6 is almost half the width. So I'm going to say class equals column mid 6. I've got a YouTube video about classes, columns and stuff like that. I really ought to explain that deeper, but you can just copy what I'm doing here. It should do the same thing. So let's get rid of the end of that, and we'll put this after our text here to end that particular div. And then we need a smaller div, or smaller column I should say, after it to hold our buttons. So I'm going to copy that, put that in there, and of course I need a closing div tag on it. Drop that down. And I'm simply going to grab these 3 buttons right here. Okay, so we've got those all in line. Let's save that and see what we've got. Control S. No, I'm going to have to align this text left. So within this class, or even on the row, let's just do it within this column right here. Let's give it a class of text left to align it left like we did with the other one. You can do text left, text center, text right. Save that and let's have a look, see what we've got here. There we go. So there we've got our text on the left there, and we've got our buttons on the right, and we can add another button just to level that out. Let's just copy that one over again. And of course, if you wanted to do, you could put your dark background behind there. So let's just copy one more button. Let's take that top one. Of course, you could create a new button of a different color, entirely up to you. Control S. Refresh. And let's go backwards to the third one. There we have it. There's our third one with our buttons on the right hand side and our writing on the left hand side. So there's 3 different ways of styling your call to action buttons on your hero section here. Obviously you want to do it however you want to do it. There's a central one, there's a one with a background, and there's a one that's split into 2 columns there. So there's 3 different ways of doing it. I'm sorry that took so long, but I hope you found it helpful and enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're interested in web development, take a look down below. We got some great free web development courses down there, as well as some premium courses with some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers. So do check it out. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.